Come on, Elliot. You leave me out of videos to talk about me behind your back, but you leave me in to talk about me in front of my... front? What more do you want?
Listen, some guy, I've already told you I'm not letting you piggyback off of my channel anymore.
Okay, fine. Look, I just want to request one video. Is that cool?
I mean, I'm just about to fly interstate and stay there for the next 3 months, so it won't get made for a very long time, but yeah, okay. What do you want me to do?
It's on my favorite game of all time.
Yep.
The greatest work of art of our generation.
Sure.
A paragon of...
What is it?
It's Drakengard 3.
Drakengard 3 is your favorite game?
Yep.
But it's so... Oh my god, it all makes sense. Give me that! Drakengard 3 is one of my least favorite works of all time, and I'm going to talk about why I want to be nothing like it. Welcome to the Talking Tenfold finale. I say I want to be nothing like Drakengard 3, but I suppose I should talk about what it's actually like. Although keep in mind I'm gonna have to spoil the entire game in order to do so. The brief synopsis is that our main character Zero and her 5 sisters are all intoners, and all of them represent some horrible quality in spades. They all have the power of this parasitic flower that's pretty much going to cause the end of the world if it keeps on living. Because of this, Zero, with the help of her dragon Raphael, sets out to kill her sisters. Finding the plot goes into a lot of detail about how Drakengard 3 is about mental illness, where Zero is attempting to recover and improve herself, but I want to take a slightly different approach and say that Drakengard 3 is about self-improvement in general. Zero's sisters were created from her, from the flower inside her, so by destroying her sisters, she's destroying parts of her that she doesn't want to be, that are undesirable to her. After killing her sisters, she recruits their disciples, which were created to keep the other intoners in check. This is her either embracing the opposites of the qualities of her sisters, or the best bits about them. Zero fails in her journey multiple times and creates multiple failed timelines, but with the help of Mikhail and the mysterious Accord, she learns from her mistakes, and she does better. There's a lot of struggle and a lot of heartbreak, but ultimately the flower, the root of everything Zero hates about herself, is destroyed, and the world becomes a better place because of it. Now, that's a really good message. It's one I can get behind, it's one I try to live my life by, and it's even what this entire video series that I'm doing is about, but why does that make Drakengard 3 bad? It's because it runs in the complete opposite direction to that in every other way. It's terrible, and it's unashamed of it, and it never changes, and that's why I dislike it so much. Drakengard 3 is a big step back from Nier character-wise. In the latter, the characters all have good, emotionally impactful arcs that serve the purpose of the greater message. In the former, pretty much every character is completely one-dimensional. Octa loves sex, and Decatus wants 2B to sit on his face, but unironically, and they never ever shut up about it. I can count the lines from these characters that don't have to do with their sexual deviancy on one finger, and that's being generous. Meanwhile, Ditto is bland, and Cent is there and he's alright, I guess. Zero's sisters may have DLC that fleshes out their characters, but that's not there in the base game, and even then they're rarely any good. Basically, the only good characters are Zero, and arguably Mikhail, but scenes like this don't exactly win me over. The good aspects of these characters only come about in roughly the third ending, along with pretty much all of the interesting plot stuff I mentioned in the synopsis. And to get to that point, you have to deal with a very subpar story for a complete playthrough of this game, and then a couple of chapters longer. If you weren't a fan of Yoko Tara's work and you played this game, there'd be no reason to believe that there was any light at the end of the tunnel. If you were, you'd know he isn't a bad writer, and yet, he wrote all of this. The game is aware of its terrible gameplay too. Characters mention how bad it is that I need to do precision platforming, and how crap it is that areas and enemies are reused multiple times. I'm legitimately surprised that no one comments about how time seems to move real slow whenever the frame rate dips or something. The thing is, no amount of complaining stops this from being in the game, and it doesn't stop it from being bad. Yes, I know the game had a bad budget, and that's a completely valid reason for all of this happening, but it still doesn't change the fact that it sucks. I could get into more detail about why Drakengard 3 is terrible, but that doesn't matter nearly as much as why that's important. To me, the game's story seems to be about improving oneself, but all of this awareness of one's flaws without acting on them and whatever takes it in the complete opposite direction. It stops being about bettering yourself, and starts being about stagnating, and never getting any better at all, and then dying. Why do I care about all this so much, though? Why does it warrant the spot as my least favorite piece of media of all time? It's because I made Drakengard 3. Okay, not literally, although could you imagine? That would make a really good twist. It's just that all of these things that Drakengard 3 has done, in my previous works I've done them too, and arguably worse. I've talked once or twice about my previous works on this channel. Inside Joke Story, my personal channel, all of that stuff. It was stuff that was unashamed of how bad it was. In fact, I purposefully did things terribly in some of them as a joke. I'm talking repeating jokes that I already admitted were terrible while admitting they were terrible again, or literally getting to the point where I made fun of myself for admitting these flaws, as if it absolved me of any of them. The amount of times I broke the fourth wall to acknowledge that I was doing something bad, but without actually trying to do anything better, is honestly uncountable.
When Drakengard 3 came out, this attitude kind of permeated every aspect of my life, and it even continued to do so, up until this day in fact. Around the time it came out, I was doing bad in tests and exams, and I wasn't making any progress on the personal projects that I actually wanted to do. My job, even up until my first year of uni, was delivering junk mail for shit pay, because I could never be bothered to find anything else, and let's not even talk about the multiple relationships that I have ruined with other people, and the ones that I never even started with other people, because of this attitude.
Drakengard 3's main sins are waving everything terrible you do away with insincerity, and never even wanting to change, and I used to channel this in spades. I acted defeatist, and hid under a layer of irony and insincerity, and remained unfulfilled because of it. I never accomplished anything I wanted, because all I did was go, haha, I suck. Oh well, shrug, better do nothing about it. The worst part was that I tricked myself into thinking I was superior for thinking this way. At least I'm better than people who aren't aware of their flaws, I thought, but I wasn't any better than them, not really, because all of my awareness without the desire to change left me in no better position than them. This is what Drakengard 3 is at its core. Empty promises to get better, while not taking any steps towards getting better, and ending up in the exact opposite of where you want to be. When I got Drakengard 3 in 2014, I liked it quite a bit, although I always hated Octa and Decadus. I didn't look at the game and go, ah yes, I want to be exactly like this, but someone I admire a lot made this. Must have subconsciously done something. After all, it's directed by Yoko Taro, who was my hero at the time, and he could do no wrong, of course, so he must be onto something, right? It's taken me a long time to get rid of this game's influence, and even now I don't think I've completely gotten rid of it, but I'm definitely getting there. The older I get, and the more I actually want to get things done, the more I realize Drakengard 3 encapsulates everything that I do not want to be.
I don't want to just acknowledge my problems and not do anything, and I don't want my problems to stick around and make my life worse either. I want to get better, I want to improve as a person, and I want to never stop growing. In other words, I will not be like Drakengard 3. There we go, guy. A video on your favorite game. You happy now? I don't know, man. I just like the sex jokes. Ha! When Octa says a sex joke, I just slap my knee. It's that funny. Oh my fucking god. Why are you still here? Is it just to make me suffer? Yeah, I guess so. Anyway, to make this next video go viral, how about we... No, shut up. I've had it with your get popular quick schemes and your irony and insincerity when it comes to making garbage and everything. Haven't you noticed that the last 4 videos I made have been me telling you that what you're doing is gonna amount to nothing? Well, yeah, I have, but if you want to be popular so badly, then how come for the last 6 months you've just piggybacked off of me instead of doing anything at all for yourself? Huh. It's been 6 months? Yeah, you wanted to be popular, but all you did was put effort into my videos. If you wanted to be popular, then why didn't you try? I was just after maximum satisfaction for minimum effort, but holy cow, you're right. I've done nothing, and I've gone nowhere. What the hell am I doing? Look, guy, when you made me dance to Gangnam Style in that one video, it made me realize that if I wanted to make Talking Tenfold the way that I want to make it, I have to do it myself. And I haven't exactly changed the world doing that, but I've gotten something out of it. Maybe you need to do the same thing. Yeah, maybe. I just don't really know what I'm gonna do now. Well, it depends. Do you still want to be popular? I mean, yeah, I do. It's just putting all of my stock in an origin story that implies I'm a fictional character from your skits, in hindsight, was not a good idea. Mostly because you wouldn't let me say it. I gotta do something new. But what? Don't know, man. Something you gotta figure out for yourself. Yeah, Especially since I'm not getting any more popular being around you. What? Come on, you shared your videos on Reddit like once. You're so hesitant to market yourself, and that's not doing me any favors. And that's not even including the topics of your videos and how you discuss them, even your format in general. I'm not getting more popular around you, so I guess I gotta pack my bags and leave and do it myself. Really? You're just leaving? Like, I don't need to chase you off with that plastic gun that you're allergic to or anything? Elliot, that wouldn't work. I'm allergic to silver plastic. It is silver plastic. Yeah, and that's more of a gray. Yeah, you know what? Of course it is. Yeah, it definitely is. Anyway, I guess I should head off. Thanks for your help, Elliot. See you around. Oh, and you can keep the shirt. Wait, why did he throw that at me? In my last video, I mentioned that I prefer to discuss good things as opposed to bad things, so I guess I'm sounding like a big hypocrite right now. It's not like there's nothing good about Drakengard 3 either. The soundtrack's pretty good, and some of the story bits towards the end are actually pretty interesting. It's just that I had to discuss all of the negative stuff of Drakengard 3 to discuss the greatest positive. Drakengard 3 is just Drakengard 3. By that I mean, Yoko Taro made his most critically acclaimed and probably his best game, Nier Automata, after he made Drakengard 3. It's not the same at all, but what he'd learned from making Drakengard 3 no doubt factored into its creation. He made something bad and learned from it, so the next time he made a game he sought to make an improvement to what came before, and it was fantastic! He did what Drakengard 3 tried to convey and attempted to improve himself, instead of doing what it actually conveys and just accepted his faults without working on them. Drakengard 3 is doomed to fall into obscurity as everything else on this earth is, but the games that learn from its mistakes and try to make themselves better are going to fall into obscurity a lot later. If there's one thing that you take away from this series, it's that everyone's made their own Drakengard 3, and everyone's going to continue making their own Drakengard 3. The thing is, though, instead of ignoring our problems or being apathetic towards them, like Drakengard 3 actually does, we can improve upon them and we can become better, like what the game wishes it could do. All of my heroes have started going through that transition, and now I think I finally am as well. I see my faults and flaws, not just in the things I make, but in everything in my life. And instead of ignoring them or claiming it's intended to be like that, I sincerely try to make things better. I'm not perfect, but I'm certainly improving, and I hope that everyone watching this can start to improve on that as well. I will not be like Drakengard 3, but I will be like what comes after. Thanks for watching Talking Tenfold. Now I just gotta get rid of this shirt, somehow. Do I just throw it in the bin, or do I need to burn it to remove the impurities? Do I have to do like some sort of satanic cleansing ritual? There's so many questions, not enough answers. I don't have time for this.